What is a dirty little, or big, secret about an industry that you have worked in, that people outside the industry really ought to know? The official policy for customer dissatisfaction at a particular Canadian coffee franchise I worked at was, offer them free stuff until they stop complaining. In academia, you create contents for privately owned journals like Science and Nature, but still you have to pay them. Also, scientists who review journals articles for the peer review process do it for free. If you don't participate in this process, you can't get papers, and if you don't have papers you don't get funding and subsequently starve and die. Edit. Thanks for the silver. I am in fact a starving academic, so it helps. I work with kids at a daycare and we see babies take their first steps sometimes, but we never tell the parents because we don't want them to feel bad about missing it. I make super expensive stuff that is bought by several governments and some high-end consumer product manufacturers. One of the machines that every bit of product has to go through only works right if you stand there and poke at it with a stick. We don't even have a special stick. It's just a metal rod that fell off of another piece of equipment that we wrapped some tape around to make a handle. We always make the new guy do it, because it is super boring. I don't know that this is a secret, but flight attendants and pilots don't get paid while boarding, deplaning, and delays. So when you're delayed and angry, so are we. We're not making money and still have to be there. Other academics will steal your work for themselves and publish it under their name. Edit. Grammar. When renting a storage unit you do not need to get the insurance they offer. Even if they say it's mandatory, it's illegal to force you to get insurance. Also, the rent will increase yearly. Forever. Edit. For those asking, I'm in CA. Rules are different state to state. This comment wasn't about how the insurance offered is a scam or how your homeowner's insurance is far superior. From my experience, any type of homeowners or renters insurance that people use for storage ends up screwing them. I just wanted people to be aware of the choices they have. Funeral homes are businesses, and funeral directors will absolutely take advantage of grieving people. The most offensive to me are the cremation boxes. They're literally just big cardboard boxes, and should cost less than $100. But they also make really expensive boxes. And directors will say things like grandma would be more comfortable in this. No, she won't, because she's dead. Some of these boxes reach $1,000, and of course are all just burned. The comforters in hotel rooms almost never get washed. They are nasty. The amount of toilet paper, random items, and bills used as bookmarks that are left in returned library books. Most subscription services will raise their prices over time because they expect you to just suck it up. This applies to phone bills, cable packages, internet service, insurance plans. Call up, politely complain about the price, skip the canned well the price has gone up because inflation, rising costs, age, end of promotion, and continue to politely say it's too much. Your budget can't handle all your outgoings and you may need to drop service. Either you are speaking to someone who can reduce the price, or they can put you through to a person authorized to reduce the price. Being polite is key to this though, as you don't want to be stonewalled by a jaded agent or otherwise sent into a transfer loop to nowhere useful. Unable to afford the service, found a cheaper deal with a competitor, or questioning what you're really getting for the service works wonders. Demands. Declarations of long-term loyalty. Read exactly the reason the company can raise the price on you, and disregard for those handling your call will serve to waste your time. Special bonus. If at first you don't succeed, call back tomorrow. Chances are you will get a different agent who may have a different approach. There ain't a company of any great size where everyone in customer service will give exactly the same response and assistance. Edit. As some have pointed out, insurance with a capital I may not work out this way for you, but insurance cover can. YMMV. Starbucks corporate makes us have those recycling bins in the lobby to present this green image, but most of the time all of the garbage ends up going to the dump anyway because the facility doesn't have recycling. Doctors spend so much time in their specific niche that they know jacket about anything else. Terrible and illegal things go on in every strip club. Owners only hire people for upper management who they have trusted for years because they all know this. Half of technical support going on in the background of major platforms is convincing the developers to care about the issue enough to fix it. Also, every platform that interacts in any way with Facebook hates Facebook. It's so ducking broken. Businesses offer rebates rather than cash discounts because they know the odds of you going to the trouble of mailing in a rebate coupon are minimal. Then they don't pay the first time because they know the odds of you complaining about it are infinitesimal, but they usually will pay off if you complain. A used car is priced based on what it will sell for, but the margin is calculated by how deep they are into it. So if a car was just traded in and they haven't detailed it or advertised it yet, you can pay thousands less if you ask. And so car dealerships have reward systems based on numbers for the salesman and the dealer and management, so if you are there at the end of the month you can sometimes get a screaming good deal because even at zero profit, the sale bumps them up to a big bonus. At stores, that magical back room where you can just go and pick up anything is actually a huge mess where things go missing all the time. Nothing about The Voice, American Idol, etc. is real. Your votes don't matter. Everything is predetermined. In some cases they even choose your audition song for you. And if they want to tear you down for entertainment, they'll choose something they know you can't sing. And with the contacts artist sign, you cannot refuse. Source: professional musician. I have not been on those shows but have friends who have. I cannot name names. Them even telling me that stuff was against contract legalities. Mobile homes are cheaply made and mass produced by people making $9 an hour and don't give a rid if it's up to code or safe. Hundreds of people in a factory with little supervision, and the main goal is to get as many made as possible, with little care to protocol, codes and fire stopping. I got hired as a HUD admin. Ended up doing inspections so we could stop getting fined by the fire marshal, and the amount of crap that is overlooked and not cared about is infuriating. Eater. Mobile homes as in manufactured homes. Single wides, double wides, ect. Anywhere from $50K up to $150K at this particular factory. It's hard for the employees to care when the plant manager doesn't. The more that roll out, the more money he makes. His idea was to roll as many out as possible. Take a huge bonus. Let the company eat the fines when the fire marshal caught something. They don't check every home. And if you got a house with the furnace not fire stopped, oh well. I worked at a Dairy Queen when I was 16 and found roaches. I got fired because I was too slow when I was cleaning, when in reality I was actually scrubbing it down because everyone else half-assed it. That being said, don't go to Dairy Queen. Almost every register nurse has what is called a blacklist of doctors she or he would not want even remotely near them should they need emergency services. People need to take better care and precaution of who they choose to accept as their doctor. Everything is held together with duct tape and baling wire. Hermit crabs as pets is actually incredibly cruel because they rarely breed in captivity, so they have to be taken from the wild. Then they get their natural shells broken away from them so that they will be forced to adopt colorful man-made shells in hopes kids find them more attractive. Corporate safety culture is not about protecting you from injury. It's about protecting the company from a lawsuit after you get injured. Hospitals are not clean. The only really clean place in a hospital is the operating room. Other than that, the place is crawling with germs and whatever else has mutated on the floors and walls. Daycare workers say rude things about your family, usually just the parents and not the kids. Credit companies will raise your interest rate for no reason and wait for you to call and complain to get it lowered. Check your statements and review all notices that come with your bill. Edit. 1. I'm not talking about Prime Plus acts. I'm talking about accounts with a specific, declared interest rate. 2. Yes, not carrying a balance will mean you won't have to pay an interest charge. But OP was what are some dirty secrets that others should know about, not how do I save money on my credit card. Regardless of whether or not you carry a balance, you should make sure they are not raising your interest rate arbitrarily. There may come a time when you have to carry a balance because of some major catastrophe you have to deal with. This prevents you from paying that higher rate. Is this question covered by the Whistleblower Act? Asking for a friend. At a hospital, the straight cash price discount for many outpatient tests, MRI, CT, X-ray, ultrasound, labs, etc. can often be cheaper than using insurance and dealing with deductibles, co-pays, co-insurance, and on and on. I've seen tests billed for thousands of dollars to insurance cost a cash paying patient less than $400. It's insane. Retail, we do have those shoes in your size. But that's my size and I hid those duckers in the back till they go on clearance. Yup, all athletic shoes make a duck ton of profit. But the more expensive sport specific shoes really do have better materials. Really nice soccer cleats and running shoes used to be made out of kangaroo. Yes, I see you shoplifting. If you're not super obvious there isn't much I can do about it. And then even if you are really obvious I can't do anything. Summer camp counselor, it's pretty much what you think. We're mainly busy trying to duck each other. If there had been a serious accident I'm not sure what would have happened. But you know, big problems are rare. Office worker, yes I could get off Reddit and it. But then I'd finish the work you gave me and we'd both have to do more. Then once there was a staggering jump in productivity that would be the new normal. And that's what your boss would expect from now on. Data management. I have no idea how we're going to recover this. But this will definitely probably work. Your mortgage has been transferred so many times that the odds are that your payment records are incomplete. In an auto shop, what your mechanic tells you may not be in your best interest, but instead what is most convenient. And what is the least amount of work to do. Edit. Added italics onto May. I work in a RedditJar. If you check the resuscitate box on our form we will absolutely do our best to resuscitate your pet. And I mean at least 15 minutes chest compressions, intubating and manual breathing, heat support and reviving drugs. It's an all hands on deck situation and we take it extremely seriously. That being said, I have never seen it do more than have a pet have a heartbeat and automatic breathing long enough for an owner to say goodbye. I have never seen an animal recover. Basically you shouldn't check that resuscitate box. It doesn't do anything but let us fight for your pet's life and lose. I'm a DNR myself. I don't want to go through that and I don't want the ER staff to go through another unsuccessful attempt. Almost everyone in the TV and film industry is winging it. When I worked at Walmart, they made me put out a soaked, moldy rug. I tried bringing it to the back room and putting it in claims, but they made me put it out. If you can imagine moldy home decor being put back out, you can probably picture what they made us do with food. Also, if you want to be in a hospital clinic-like environment, go to Walmart. They don't give a duck if you're sick. You have to work. We had a girl working in grocery and she was vomiting all night. They never once sent her home. One lady never washed her hands after she pissed, it, or smoked. She worked in pharmacy. Wash your hands after being in Walmart for the love of God. Probably will be buried, but when businesses like Taco Bell, PetSmart or others ask you to round up to donate to a cause it is 100% for the tax write-off they receive. They are allowed to donate money and pay less taxes. Instead of paying from their overall sales and profits they con customers to pay extra to do it for them. This leaves their overall sales intact while increasing their yearly profit by paying less in taxes. If you want to donate just do it yourself and give more than $1. People always joke that most psychologists become psychologists because they are crazy. I've worked in close proximity to a bunch of forensic psychs for the last few years. It is true. I worked at a game store a couple years ago, and the lowest we could give for a trade-in was 10 cents. As everyone knows, when you trade a game in, you're getting way less than you paid, and way less than what it would be sold for. Well, for the Nintendo Wii systems, the way the pose was set up, if someone came to trade in the system itself without end controllers or cables, they would get 10 cents. Not quite a secret, but honestly it's worth just keeping your systems and playing with them again on 5 years when you miss the game. I know this woman, let's call her Meredith, who sleeps with our paper supplier for kickbacks and vouchers to steak restaurants. We have no idea what we're doing and are amazed it still hasn't gone to completed yet. I am a Romanian who has worked for a US military contractor. The DoD doesn't care about the price of the things the military is buying. I once sold a bag of 240 hex nuts for $9,000. It's not a typo, which I got for $25. The spending the DoD does is really as bad as you might have heard of. The more they spend the better. It is actually scary how much money they throw away. When working on a patentable idea and propose construction, I was told don't over-engineer it. You want it to break sometime so they'll have to get a replacement. Naive me told him off, saying I'd rather do that because it's supposed to help people. I wonder how widespread his mindset was. Edit since this blew up. It's for cosmetics and something that will have a new version produced pretty much every year-ish or so. It'll be improved on. I simply just don't design things to fail. If people prefer the original build, then so be it. I'm not going to force someone to use a new version if they don't have to. It's not necessarily a secret, but I think it is not well known. When you call the 800 line to complain about an experience at a retailer, that message is just sent directly to that store where it is reviewed by the same people you are complaining about. 99% it's laughed at. You get a fake apology call, and nothing happens. About 75% of all restaurant employees are high on something at any given time. Wearing gloves in kitchens is a goddamn lie. They don't offer any sort of protection. They're actually more prone to spreading germs and filth because people don't wash them between touching different kinds of food. They exist to give the illusion of safety and professionalism. As someone who's worked in kitchens, I'd much rather see a cook wash their hands than throw a latex glove on. If anyone thinks this is wrong, answer this. Do you expect servers or bartenders to wear them? They all touch uncooked things that go straight to your mouth. But you never bat an eye. If you call customer service and the representative does a great job, and you want to compliment them, please ask for a supervisor specifically. If you say you want to make sure we're rewarded for good service, but don't explicitly say you want to talk to someone about it, we can't direct you to doing so. And when you talk to a supervisor for compliments, it really does help improve customer service. Those calls are more likely to be used for training new reps, and complimented reps get raises too. Worked at an Asian streetwear store in a ghetto area, and only hired girls for sex appeal and were trained to wear slutty clothes and flirt with the customers to sell $15 hoodies sold for $100+. In a call center, there are lines where management can listen to the customer while he/she is navigating the phone tree or waiting on hold. It's used for quality control. We hear every line of profanity, racist, sexist remark, and muttered expletive. Also, many live chat sessions allow the associate to see you typing in live time. A lot of horrible things get typed out, then redacted before pressing send. Engaging with customer service brings out the worst in people, especially when they think it's in private. We're spilling oil on the sea. I'm a ship engineer BTW. The cooks do all the drugs and always have the best drugs too. I'm just looking through the comments to find an employee of Big Glitter. I just wanna know. Former legal secretary. Cops aren't always there to help. They just want you to admit to it to wrap up an investigation quicker. They are not always nice and are going to let you go if you are honest. This all depends, too, on the prosecutors and DAs in the area. Most pet stores are really sketchy when it comes to where their pets are coming from. Usually it's large industrial breeders where the animals just breed more than they should and defiantly doesn't have the involvement they deserve. They pretty much never live their entire lifespan. Same with puppy mills. Never purchase from a puppy mill. So buy pets from reputable breeders or shelters. Don't support sketchy breeding and animal keeping. Animator here. It's coming more and more to light lately, but big animation studios and game companies treat their employees like it and pay them barely anything and expect them to work hard because of the love for the job. And they can get away with that because there are hundreds of thousands of other creatives who would be more than happy to deal with all of the BS just for a chance to work at a AAA studio. Really, it's not just animation though. The entire entertainment industry is this way. Pretty much at least 85% of any food you eat while out at a restaurant in America will be from Cisco. Semicolon. You, the parent, are likely the worst thing about teaching. I know this is correct in the UK but not sure outside the country. I work in the payments industry. When we send customer card details to the banks, all the data is sent over a secure FTP connection, but the actual data is sent unencrypted. We store your data encrypted on our systems and only about 3-4 people can actually see the full card numbers. But once it's at the banks, they can see everything as it gets processed. Also, if we have to engage the banks about our issue, they will openly ask for the full card number over an email. Hotels are held together by more superglue and duct tape than you know. Doesn't matter how nice they are, unless you're talking about ultra rich type places. This one is a little trivial compared to others in here, but wine isn't vegan. It's not even vegetarian in some cases. The filtering fining process uses egg whites, and sometimes isinglass, fish parts. When I worked in a tasting room, people would come in and be like, I'm vegan, but thank God I can still have wine. Am I right? And I wanted to tell them that they weren't right, but I also wanted to sell them wine. Edit. Fining, not filtering. Words is hard. Student loans for acupuncture school are now $150,000 for 4 years. The average salary is $40,000 a year and the pass rate for state boards is 50%. Not an education to get. I taught at a university and it killed me. I quit. It's criminal in my opinion. 3D movie conversions are done only a handful of big companies. One of the big ones moved their office to India so they could literally put together a sweatshop of workers working 14-hour days on these things while possibly permanently ducking up their vision. They took millions from both the American and Canadian governments and ran. A good chunk of stereo conversion shops are literally run by criminals. Audiobook narrators are woefully underpaid. We are some of the only recording artists who do not receive royalties for our work. And in fact, our wages went down by about 66% when Audible renegotiated the AFTRA contract 10 years ago. 66%. The rates have been going up incrementally since then. But narrators are still treated very poorly. Many of us now record our own work. In addition to being a narrator, I am also the director, engineer, and researcher on nearly every book I work on. But no credit is given to me other than for narration. And I have to fight to get more money than I would get for just narrating a book. In addition, narrators are expected to promote the books they've recorded themselves, despite the fact that we get no residuals. In other words, we don't get any of the revenue from the audiobook sales, just a flat fee up front. A while ago, a very popular author wrote to me to congratulate me on the fact that the latest book of his that I'd narrated was the #1 best-selling audiobook on Audible. Thanks, I said, but that means nothing to me because I don't get a dime from sales. He was shocked. Narrating audiobooks is often difficult and usually tedious work that requires an exhausting amount of focus. The industry continues to grow in leaps and bounds. It is only fair that the co-creators of this work receive their just due. I work in healthcare. The amount of narcotics theft by healthcare workers is ridiculous. Everyone cheats on fuel economy and or emission tests. Volkswagen is just the latest to get caught. That colleges and universities are aware that they're both offering classes that teach the merits of socialism and simultaneously bankrupting a generation and enslaving them to debt, most often on the most needy. Huawei takes employees' pay for mistakes made. I had a company-wide corrective email sent to me with a picture of the guy that messed up, his team leader and the line manager, a description of what they did wrong, some security issue, like sharing a password if I remember correctly, as well as the fact that 1 month's pay has been taken from each of them. I work in the wedding industry. Every single service you purchase for your wedding has a marked up price because we know you're going to spend it. Those expensive drops you're taking to make your eyelashes grow longer, they're just glaucoma drops that you're dumb enough to pay 20x for. I work in the lab. Sometimes nurses bring down mislabeled specimens and the patient will never know. Sometimes we the lab people are informed after lab results have been finalized, which creates a fiasco of paperwork and write-ups. I believe patients should receive reduced medical bills due to the lack of caution for simple things such as labeling blood tubes at bedside. However, I do not work in the billing department and have no way of ensuring the patient receives reduced billing. Furry commissions go for a lot of money. The clothes you find at an outlet. more often than not, are not cast-offs or overages from the regular store. There's a whole separate entity that designs and produces clothes at a lesser quality for outlet prices. A lot of restaurants have rats. Maybe not in large quantities and visible all the time, but they are there. When it closes down, their tiny little rat feet are running all over the tables, counters and kitchen equipment.